Hi all, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you are able to see my screen now. Can you please confirm, are you able to see my screen now? Okay. So last time we discussed React JS, some basic intro and some of the important thing which we are using to create a project for this component part, and then class, props, event, and then router. So these things we have already discussed before. Some of the advanced features are there in this React, like a React hook and some of the exercise. So we'll discuss today. And also we have some many projects are there which is related for this React based application. So if you see here, so these all are basic of React applications. So all are with React with a Spring Boot and database. So we have employee management portal is there. So this is employee management portal which is React. So this is the React is a front end and back end as a Spring Boot and Java. So these things we will discuss. So this is the component. So today we'll discuss this one. But before that, I need to give you some of the overview of this. So React hooks and all. So if you want this details, we have one more things is there, slides here. So through that you can go for this basic of or full implementations React tutorials also. So if you search here, we have many React based presentations are there, which is a good presentation we seen here. So this, if you open this one, introduction of React.js, while we worked on this React.js, what all are the things we have to take in care. So these all are this, like what is React? So React is just a library for creating a user interface. So mostly for this React, we are creating a UI. So this is most popular framework built in based on this JavaScript. So most of the JavaScript library we are using for this React. So how React it worked? So mostly it is a based on this framework based. So what type of framework is there? So in Java we seen model view controller, right? So same way we have a here model view controller is there. So there are these models will take as a data, and controllers will be displaying logic of JavaScript, and this is a model view, and this view will be the template. So this template will have HTML, CSS, JavaScript or anything, so that if any users can add or anything, they can add the details that will go for the controller, and controller will wrap this data from model, and it will display it will raise the request to the backend application. So while we create a this component, so see we seen here, this is a real-time application, this is a full stack development application for this employee
Manoj, I
management.
didn't see your email.
Sorry.
I didn't see the screen.
Okay, okay, yeah. Can you please confirm, are you able to see screen?
I don't know from I didn't see.
I'm sharing, but I'm not sure why it is not. Okay, I'm doing again. Now can you please confirm, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see. Yeah, now I
Okay.
can see.
Okay, so I think there was some issue with that. So I told like I'll start again. So we have multiple React based applications are there. So this is the applications where we have a multiple React based application which will be discussed. One of them, anyone is fine. So see, are you able to see this all project, right? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, so here we have an employee management project which is based on this Spring Boot and React. It's a full stack development, and others is multiples are there, but we will discuss this one now. So employee management Spring Boot project where we have a two part. One is React part, another is a Spring Boot part. So Spring Boot mostly already discussed, but we will go for this React part today. So in this React, see here some of the basics we already discover covered before. So these all are the React based applications which I have covered, like introductions of React, event component, and props, events, routers, and all we completed before. What is all and how we will use. Now we have some of the overview of React applications. So if you want to go for this presentations based, so we have a slides here. There we have a multiple presentation. So one of the presentations we seen about this React JS is very popular. So this is the introduction about React JS. So here I have gone through this first slide, like what is React. So React is already we seen like most of the popular library which is used to create a user interface, means UI. So it's a framework which will take a multiples JavaScript library. So how React will work? React also will work is a three layer of architecture, like model, view, and controller. So view is part of HTML, CSS, JavaScript based, so where all the template will be there, and controllers will display this JavaScript logic. So from these all are the part of internal in React. And data, we have a multiples input output data will be there which will be bind from this model view, and they will send this request from this React to backend application. Backend application means Java or any of the technology based application. So while we create a React JS applications, there we have to create a component. So see here, this is the applications. If you open this React front end, so in this React front end we have src, right? Inside this src, Java also we have src, but in React src we have src means services will be there and some component will be there. If you are creating a employee service, like my requirement is I need to create employee management service. So if you are creating employee management service, then we have a employee management service will be there which have all this business logic in React also. And here we have a component. So in this component, like what all are the features will be there, like add employee features, delete employee features, and update employee features, employee list, and all. So whatever these things will be there, you have to create a JavaScript functionality for that. So these all are the component is there. So if you see here, what is the component and how we will build this component. So component are the building the block of React. Block means here we see in the, this is the multiples block, or in Java we can say package, folder structures we discussed, right? Like that we have a block of multiples block of React while we are component. So very similar to directive of Angular JS. And you can think about this component as a collection of, so this is the component which is the created by the JavaScript. If you open any of the component, so in this JavaScript it will be combination of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and all, right? So if you see here, it's not okay. Yeah, I think we
The
have to,
React also have some version or just React JS.
yeah, React JS also have a version. So mostly we will use a latest version only. If you want, you can use any older version also.
So which one is the latest one?
18 point something is there. We will see next. This is not opening. Why? Because we'll see you, we'll give you the later details. So this is the React demo. So it's not opening. Why? Because of it's a jar file. So we have to extract this jar first. So if I'm extracting this file, I'll show you this latest version and which all already there in this.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly React will create a component and service is the main thing. So see here, this is the React. Inside that, if you open src, we have a component. So right now we are discussing component. So if you open any of the component, see this is the component. Here what is the combination of this? Either we have some JavaScript or some script file, some of the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So the this is the tables, right? So these tables, div tags, t bodies and all are the combination of HTML tag. These all are the HTML tag. So it means these headers and all is the HTML tags and all. So it's showing like here React.js, while we are building the component, in that is a part of component of the collection of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So through that we can create a component. While we are creating a component where we are writing this business logic for the separate, like for this add employee, delete employee, fetch the employee, or any update the employees related things, we are writing this. So these all are the pure JavaScript, like we are creating some variables child1, and then we are calling this of functions like create element. So this react dot create element is a methods where we have these details are there. So like that we can call this. So how we will call? Based on the reference, the react dot create element, we created child1, child2 and roots and all, right? So this react dot renders, we have a root document dot get element by id, so that root will have a combination of child1. So like that we can call a UI description. So first we have to create a variables, then we have to create a root, and that in root we have to add this one, like a ul class name my list, and then child1, this child1, and after that child1 and child2, and then react dot renders are there, that we have already discussed. React through this renders we will call this root. So the root is a variables here. So based on this reference, and document dot get element by id is a part of JavaScript tags which we have to use, and based on this id we will fetch the details, and we will show this example. So these all are the JavaScript XML, like how we are calling, creating headers and all. So inside this headers we are calling, see everywhere if you are using React, then instead of any HTML, CSS, JavaScript tag library, we have to use some React functionality. So react dot c, here we are checking create class. So this react dot create class means some create class functionality we are checking, and here we have a renders some functions are there, which functions having some return things. So what return things are there? Employee directory. So that employee directory, if you want, if you are returning, so what all are the headers tags? So h1 means highlighted here, header tags will be there. So this is from HTML, and this functions is coming from some JavaScript, and this react dot create class is coming from React library. So React library is also part of JavaScript, means this is a framework where we have a bundle of libraries and functionalities are there. So react dot, and we can call anything. So we have multiple benefits are there in React, like why we are using and what all are those. So this is before this React applications we have a DOM operations. So this will be avoid, React will be avoid this DOM operations. If you want to see this what is DOM, so this is, so this way in this, so document object models was there. So like this is a DOM tree object. So there like this there was a applications which we have to create, either before, but in this React this is not applicable, DOM based, like some hierarchy will not applicable for this. So this will be avoid this DOM operations and minimize access of DOM and update this element as a offline before inserting this DOM. So this is the features of React, and we have a virtual DOM for this. So these all are the theoretical part. If you want, you can go for that. So first we seen this create a component. So while we are creating a component here, so in this React we have a 1 2 3 4 5 component are there, right, for this employee management portal. So here we seen React a component. So how we are creating a component? So this is we have a create class is there. So through that create class we are creating a functions based on this render. We are showing this. So h1 is a employee directory we are creating. So like component rendering, so value returned from this render. So this render method we seen here, right? In everywhere you will see in this render. So what is this renders? So in this renders, here, this returns from this render method is not a DOM node. It is a lightweight description from the UI. It is differed with this current descriptions to perform the minimum set of changes. For that purpose we are using render dot. So data flow we have a parent to child, like in Java we have a hierarchy, like inheritance concept from parent to child, like that here also we have a data flow. So property we seen, like some many where we seen pops and all. So if you go here, this one in intro of this HTML, here we seen pops, right? So this is pops. So pops are the argument passed into the React component. Pops pass the component via HTML attribute. So this HTML attribute, see here. So this is a data flow. So it will be flowed from parent to child. So pops property passed to this child by parent is are accessible by using how this dot pops. So we have in Java we seen this and two pers, like so, like that here also we have a this dot pops. Through that we can accessible from child by passes the child by parents. So these props are immutable. Once you initiated this object you can't change this. It will be fixed in that. So immutable means non-changeable. So this is a create class. In this create class we have a home page. So we have created one variables as a home page, right? So home page, and then we have a react.create class. So this react.create class, inside this render.functions is calling this function. Inside this functions we have returns. So what is returns? We have a division. So div is there, and divisions we have headers. So what will be header inside this? Inside this header some titles is there, employee directory, and then is the employee directory, and then we have a some search bar which is closing an employee list, some closing from this different tag. So like that we have parents, and this is the child. So this headers is a parent class. So inside this div header part, titles employee directory is a parent, and if you see here, this is the child one. Like inside this returns, see inside this returns we have this dot pops titles is the child one. So inside this returns we have a div headers and then parents, and this is the child one. Inside this returns we have headers and nothings are there, this dot pops then titles. So this will be as a child. So how data flow will work? Inverse of data flow in the parent and child. So like that we have, so this all the codes of, this is for child one. So here we have, see, after render the functions we have a return. So input type as a search, on changes. Once you input type as a search, then on changes, this dot key changes will work. So this dot key change will go once you click on the search one from the UI. So this dot key change, and then key change we have a Key change functions is coming from this search bar as a react.create class key change. So this key change have functions will call, and this functions having some event. So this event dot target dot value. So what type of value he want. So for this dot pops search handler. So one handlers will be called. Inside this we have a search dot key. So like that functionality will work from the parent to child. If you see this real-time project, then we have the things, and these all are the states we can create. If you want to define some names, details like that, we can create in React. If you want to change this state, we can change this state by using this way. Create a functions, then this dot state, set state. So we have a set state, and then whatever you created before, name as this one. So if I want to change that state, then we can change this state also. So this dot set state functions is there in React. Through that we can change this state. So if like this we have, now we will go for this one. Like see here, this is the React application. So we have employee management. So in this employee management, this is based on this two base. One is Java backend using a Spring Boot, and here frontend is React, and database we will see. So see here, this one backend have POM means Maven is there. src means this main application. Inside this main application, if you see here resource, so inside this resource, if you open application dot property, means you will see what all are the configurations and databases there inside there. It means this is they are using some MySQL. So MySQL is the database. Username password is this one. URL is this one. Driver name is this one, and then update, and so these all are true. Something is there. It means some database we are using in this backend. Now we will go for the Java. So in this Java we have this sub package is there. Inside this is the main package. So main package will have a application main Java file. So main method. So this is the main method, right? So public static void main. So once the request will come from this UI, it will go for this one, and then according to that request will be transferred for the controller. So after this request, this is the controller. So whatever the request will come from the UI, it will go for the controller. So this controller from which this is employee management, right? So employee controller is there, which will be having some business logic. So if you have opened this employee controller, so in this employee controller we'll have three things. One is, see, cross origin. Cross origin means we are handling this request from the UI from the React, and what is the React URL is localhost 3000. It means we are handling the request. So whatever the request UI users will send this information from the UI, it will come from this our backend application from the controller. So this controller will handle all this details which is coming from localhost 3000. Now inside that we have REST API call. REST API call means REST controller, and then request mapping we have. In this backend application we have localhost API/v1. This is the parent URL. Parent URL means some localhost /API/v1 is there. So from backend localhost by default 8080 is the port number. So HTTPs, so the URL will be like this way. This way. Now after that /API is there, API/v1, because we created like that. Request mapping we are creating like that, and after that if you this is the first URL post mapping. So this is the post mapping. So this is the parent API, like the request mapping. Request controller is our controller class name. So at the rate request controller this is, and this is a cross origin means some UI request will handle here, and this is request controller. Request mapping means parent API. So this parent API has called like this. Now we have a required, so required some argument is there which is required. Now we have post mapping, means sub API call slash employee. Slash employee means if users will enter from the UI slash employee, localhost 8080 is the by default URL, slash API slash b1 slash employee means if users is sending this detail slash employee, it means create employee functions will call in this JavaScript, but in backend create employee method will call. So we have an employee type of returns will be there. So create employee, inside that we have a request body. So which request body is coming from the UI employee, so employee details. So in this employee details we have a employee name, employee salary, employment department, employee ID, employee genders and all, many things will be there inside this employee. So we have to create this field, employee field, we have to create a inside this UI also and inside this backend also. So this model class we seen, right? If you see here, we seen model class. So model class will be applicable in both side, inside the backend also and front end also. So this is the model class. Anjali, your audio is on. Can you please mute? Hello Anjali. So this is the model here. So these models we have to create inside this front end and back end layer also. We have to create on one model class. So this request body, like what type of models will be there, that I know employee details. For this employee details, what all are the models, data or variables is coming, so that we are passing here whatever the users is passing through the UI. Once you click on this create employee or get employee, so this is the create method, right? It means create employee. So once users will create a employee details, in this case what will happen, whatever the things they are passing and clicking on this create button, so this request is coming from this controller, employee controller. In employee controller they will check either create employee functionality is there, yes. So inside that whatever this request body is taking from the UI base, same this will be coming here, and after that it will fetch the details from where, this is the service. So employee service dot create employee method. So in this create employee method what we are passing, this one employee we are passing. So this employee, it will go from this create employee method from where, employee service. Now we will go for the employee service. So this is the Anjali, are you able to hear me? Anjali? Okay, thank you. So here now we have a this one, what functionality was there. So this is employee service. In that we need to check a create employee, what of all employee details is coming, so we need to create a employee. So we have to check this employee service. So see here we have a service, so inside this service we have employee service. So we need to open this employee service and there we have to check the create functionality. So yeah, create functionality is there or not, yes there. So this is a interface, means there only abstract class is there. So create employee and there they are passing employee. Now we need to check this implementation, because this is abstract class interface, only abstract class will be there. So for that implementations will be available here only, employee.service impl. So you have to open this impl and there you have to check create employee functionality. whatever the abstract class we declare for that create employee functionality here. So this is the class where we are implementing this service, right? We are implementing because interface. Now here only business logic will be written, like what type of business he want for the create employee. So create employee, we seen employee details. Now here employee entity. So employee entity is there. They have created one object employee entity equal to new employee entity, and here we have a bean utils dot copy property from this employee whatever is coming from the UI and employee detail. So they are doing some copies the property from here to here. Why? Because of in this employee entity property all the fields is which is available inside the database. So I need to map this database field and model field. So these models which we seen, this is from UI and backend both side, this model. But for this database also some different models will be there, some different columns name, that is called employee entities. Inside that all the employee entities column details will be there, like whatever the columns you have, employee ID, name, salary, department. But how can we store both employee and employee entity data field is same? So we need to map this one. So bin utils dot copy property is there, through that we are mapping. We have a different ways also there. Now the details has mapped, all the fields has mapped from the database columns name and our backend column name and the front end column name which is coming from this UI. So this has mapped, and now we have a repository class. Repository class means there we have a save method. So we are calling repository means some database operations where we have to insert the detail. Create employee means we need to insert the details, whatever the UI is sending the details we have to check, and then we have to insert detail. So how you will insert this detail? We have employee entities. So in this employee entities where we have to save this employee details, right? This employee details to employee entity and repository. So now we have to go for this repository class. So now if you go for the repository, this is the backend flow which we are telling you right now. Now if you go for this repository, so if you open this repository.java, then what will happen here? See here this repository. So this is the repository. We have extended JPA repository. So JPA repository, we have a inbuilt repository coming from the database. So where we have a multiples inbuilt methods are there. So no need to write this implementation here. Why? Because of interface is there. So that interface has extending some JPA. So this JPA having also interface which have multiples method is allowing. So if you use this method, then it means directly save. Suppose we have a save methods are there. If you use save method, then it means automatically they will save the data. No need to do any write operations or save query details and all. So automatically they have options where if you use JPA, so that will be stored in the database. Once data has been stored from this repository, then it will be returned back to the service layer. Service layer, why? Because of we have a returns, right? So return employee. So return employee means this employee returns will come here, and after that it will go for the controller, and controller is also doing some returns. So whatever the details we are putting there, this will be return this, and this returns will be mapped to this our React application. So React application is the UI. So like that flow will work from the backend. Now the question is, what is DTO and what is entity? So already I told, like DTO here, if you open here, this is a DTO class. So in this DTO class we have all the data which is employee, because UI is sending employee details. So what type of employee detail? ID, first name, last name, email and all, right? So the same employee data will be there in the backend also and front end also. But now question is, what is entity then? So entity is from the database table, like what type of tables will be there and what all are the fields is there in the database, that things will be here. So see here, tables name is employee tables. Okay, and then this is the class where we have id. So once you create an employee table in database, so the id will be there and id automatically will be generated, increment by one automatically. So this id, then first name, last name and email. So look like same. If any name difference will be there, then we have to map this from this, and then we have to store the data like this. So this way we have a backend application will work. So if you are creating any backend application, we have a main application, we have a controller application. Controller will go for the service application, service will go for the repository application. DTO or model or DAO will be this our data object, which all are required, and entities and all is required from the data. So backend data, like what all are the columns and all we require, that we have to store. Apart from this, we have many folders we can create. If you want to add the exception, if you want to add the validations, if you want to add this security, if you want to add the security, if you want to add any others uh, customizations and all like that, we have many things we can add. So this is the basic things from the U backend. Now we will go for the UI. So this is the UI front end. So this in front end, this is the image, right? So my requirement is I want to create a employee record, which we discuss, right? So if you want to create an employee record button, so first name I have to enter, then last name I have to enter, email ID. Once users will click on save button, so what will happen? We seen, once we use will click on the save button, it will go from this our create controller class from the backend, from this UI to this create controller class. How? Because of we make as a cross origin there, and once you click on the save button, then we have a some backend path will be there, which will go for the controller class from the backend. We will see once users will clear the button and all the tasks will be clear, again you have to enter like this. So this is my requirement, of that we are creating this React application. So if you want to see this, add the employee, add the new employee. So here we have edit and delete set there. So once you added the employee, then we have edit or delete. Edit means update, delete means delete, and add new data means create. Insert, delete, update, and find means fetch all the employee details which we have created. If you want to see for this UI, like what all are those, so see there. This is the SRC. Inside this SRC, we have created one component and then one services. In Java, we have a multiple folder was there, controller, service, repository, right? So like that here we have a component and service are there. So if you open this component, so we have a multiple component, like we seen this functionality, right? We need to add this employee, we need to delete the employee, we need to add new employee, and we have to create find the employee. So see, if you open this add employee, you open this add employee here, we'll see. So we have add employee. So See, then we are importing some of libraries from React. First of all, whatever required imports we have to do, import React. So use state from React we are importing, use navigate we are importing from this React router DOM, and then employee service. So employee service is where inside this one, because this is controller. So we need to import this service because we have to this service class employee service, right? We have to write this business logic from the component to service, and service will send this data to the controller backend, right? So this one I have to import. So I have imported this all import which is required. Now we created add employee as a constant we created. There we have employees and set employees. The use state we have used from the React library. So in this React library we have used use state, means we are using what all are the fields like from this employee. So this employee we have ID, we have first name, we have last name and email ID, which is taking from this employee, and then we are setting as an employee by using use state. So that we have, and then we have navigate. So this navigate, through that we are navigating this constant. Use navigate use navigate means React routers DOM will be created for this reuse navigations, and then after that we have a handle change. So this handle change we have a constant value, means whatever the set employees we have made it here. So set employee equal to employee dot target as a name and value. So based on this, e dot target, e means here with this e dot target as a name and then value. So we have to target by handle change. We have to target whatever the based on the name we have to fetch, based on this ID, based on this last name. So like that we have target here, and this is the main functionality where we have a save employee. So if you want to save that employee, we have created a constant again, and then we have employee service dot save employee. So so this employee service dot save employee as employee, and then response constant dot log response. So while we are doing the save operation, then e dot prevent default one method is there, and then employee service dot save method. So this save method having this employee, means we are doing save operations. So from where we have to check this employee service. So employee service having save employee. So there we have employee model we seen, right? So this employee models related like first name, last name, ID and email. Then the response, what will be the response? We have console log dot response. So console log will print this logos, and then navigate we seen, right? There you have used navigate. So from so use navigate. So this navigate we are navigating here. So navigate means like we seen in backend we have localhost 308080 slash multiples URL we form. Like that here we have also URL form slash employee list, means employee list details will be fetched. Navigate dot employee list means once slash users will be doing from localhost 3000 slash employee list, means you will get all this employee list like this. Like this. So we have this, like this way we can call this save employee, and then this is for the reset, like this is for this reset. So once you click on this reset, then all the id should be empty. So this is the buttons is there, right? So this buttons, once you click on this clear buttons, it means this will be reset. The id, first name, last name in email should be empty here. So this is the reset constant we created, cons constant we created as a reset, and this reset we are prevent default. So e dot prevent default we call this method, and after that set element everything as a blank we put here. It means reset. Now we have created this, these all are the div class. So because all the component will have part of HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So we told like we are creating a div class, and then we have add new employee. Then we have created a div class, we have first name. We have created a div class, then we have a last name. So see here, we need to create this UI, like, right? So add new employee, first name, last name, email, this button. So how you will create that? So you have to use some HTML CSS tag. So CSS is cascading a style sheet, where we have to change the UI. If buttons need to be green color, if button need to be green, like a red colors, and these tags need to be black colors, background should be white colors and all. So for that purpose we need to use CSS. If you want to handle some of the no like some of the validations, like first name should be characters, not numeric, email id should be at the rate .com something, then these type of validations we can use with the JavaScript query. And if you want to create a box, name, headers and all proper, then you have to use a HTML CSS. So like that we have a use this way. So this class name, we have created a class name, headers, div. So there we have created add new employee. Inside this new employee we have, and then we have a first name. So this first name should be the class name as a like this one, and then font is a normal like this. So this all we created, and here first name, last name, and then email and all. And then we have a two buttons are there here. See, two buttons. One is save button. On click on the save buttons, then what will happen? And then on click of reset button, what will happen? So this is the UI which we created, and this is for add employee details. So once we click on this add employee details, so once click on this add buttons, then this functionality will work. Once we click on reset button, then this functionality will work. So we have add button, this one, and then reset button of this one. So this is the JS we have called. Now we go for this. So once JS will call, then it will go for the service. So employee service. So this employee service will have a add new record functionality, business logic, right? So if you open this one, so see here, first what we have created a constant base URL, like whatever the request is coming from the UI, where it will go from the backend layer. So this backend layer from which one? 8080 localhost 8080 API slash p1 slash employees, right? Which we seen right before, because the employee slash employees was there in this controller from the Java. It means once we click on the save button, the request will go for this URL, and this URL will have a controller class. Inside this controller class we have a say create employee method was there inside that, right? So once we are doing this save employee, this employee details will be there. So this employee details, and then this is the return. So this import is means we are doing some API call like this. In backend we have a post call, get call, put call was there, like that we have a some REST call. For this REST call we are using this library import. So this library import, through that you have a post call. Post means we are doing some save operation. What things? Employee details. So from here this one base URL. So base URL from where? This one controller, backend controller. And what we need to do? This employee details we need to do. Like that we have a get employee. We have a this base URL. So base URL only we have to find the get details. If you want delete employee, then we have a base URL and then delete based on the ID, and then get employee based on ID, then update employee based on this ID employee. Now like that we have a service is there. And if you see here, we have a models also there. So these models, if you open here, if you open this models, employee models, so see here inside this employee models we have a multiples fields are there. What all are those we need? We have a constant of employee, we have a import statement. So this import statement is coming from React, and the DOM is there, and then we have employee class constant. So inside this employee constant we have this one navigate, edit employees and all is there. Now what all are the returns things will be there? So these all are the headers. So this is coming from HTML CSS, so this tags and all. So inside these tags what need? One is employee dot first name, employee dot last name, employee dot email ID, and this is the alignment and white space are all are there. Class name we have created for this all. We have a TD tables, divisions and all. So that is HTML part. And here we have employee dot ID name salary, and based on that once we click on this edit button, then employee ID will be called. Once we click on this delete button, then delete ID will be called. So this is the employee data. And then if you see employee list, like if you want to fetch all the list of employee from this React, so employee list will become like what all are the datas and all as inserted. So that will be fetched from this backend application and it will show. So this is there. So employee list, and we have imported this service here like employee service, employee model. This is the model and this is the employee service. And then we created employee list. Inside this employee list, we have a, this one employee list, employee service that get employees. So we have a set employee response data. So all this data which is coming from this will be load and fetch the details. Like that we have a delete employee functionality here also. So if you delete it, then what all are this deleted, and then return the filters. So remaining details uh, things will be there. And here we have on click on add element. So add element, these things will be there. So this is the navigation bar and this is the update employee. So update employee functionality also will be the same. If you see here update employee, so like that we have update employee constant we created. So we seen like what is constant, what is props, what is renders, what is component, what is service, and what is routers. So these all are mostly we are using in React. Apart from this, some of the theoretical part is there. So we created a constant, then inside that we have used this navigations import. navigations and params, and after that this is the constant id, and then we have handler change use effect. Here we have a employee service dot get employee by id if you want to get employee by id, and then if you have update, then in this update we have a update employee. So in this update employee we have this business logic to write and navigate this employee list. And once you update this employee, then what all are this UI functionality will be there, like this all this thing saying your first name last name now need to be updated. So here if you click here, so we have edit and delete. Edit means update. So once you click on this update, the same field will come, first name last name email id and all, right? So like that we have to use this here. And after that we have on click of update employee, functionality buttons will be there, and then it will be navigate where somewhere in employee list. So after updating, this employee list will be updated, right? So this navigations will be there. So this is a, now we have nav bar is also there. So this nav bar you see here, so this is the navigation bar. So in this navigation bar we have employee management systems are there. So this if you see here, so here we employee management system is the navigation on top of. After this URL localhost 3030 or 3000 something navigate if you want. Then for that purpose, if you have bottom navigations and top down navigations, so like that we have to create a navigation, and then employee management systems if you want to navigate, then like that you have to create this class. So we have nav bar as a constant, then we have a return. So inside this returns we have created a div class. This is the HTML CSS. So this div class name, then again some div class name, and after that we have a paragraph. So what I have to want to navigate employee management system. So these things will be there, and there we have the navigations. So this is the default navigations which will be shown in all the pages and all like this. So this way we can create a simple applications from this. And so mostly in React, mostly we have a Angular component and services we are creating, and in component and services we are using based on this HTML, CSS, JavaScript and React library. So is this fine? Are you able to understand this functionality, how we created this one? So we have add employee, edit employee, delete employee, and how we will click on this add employee, like this page will come. So we have created this page. If you want, I can share this all. Read out. Here we can add, how we will test here. Okay, then we will continue tomorrow, and you can just go for this employee management for this understanding
Okay.
purpose. Also you can go through this all component which is there inside this React, so that easily you can understand this React application. Only these things we have to understand: component, class, props, event, some of the conditions and routers. So this is the main thing. Apart from this, some of the tags are there: HTML, CSS, JavaScript tags. You have to understand. For that purpose, just open this HTML tags, CSS, and some JavaScript basics and all. If you open here HTML, you will get some headers and all, like whatever we is there. CSS for this style sheets, and JavaScript some of the validations like that. But in
Okay.
React only these things were there only. That 4 or 5 components are there which we can use, and we have multiple component is required once we use for this big applications and all. Thank you. Tomorrow we will connect with the same React applications.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Majid.
yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.